He was a philosopher who tried to solve the universe. He was a warrior who conquered half of it. He was a leader who built an empire that lasted for centuries. And he was a man who struggled with doubt, fear, anger, and sadness, just like all of us. This is the story of Marcus Aurelius. It's easy to see Marcus Aurelius as this great Stoic philosopher, a perfect role model for those seeking wisdom in their lives. But we forget that, behind that label, there was a human being who experienced life's ups and downs, triumphs and failures, joys and sorrows, just like you and me. His grandfather, Marcus Junius Silanus, was an important senator and governor. His father, Marcus Aurelius Cotta, was adopted by his brother to become consul and then emperor. And his mother, Domitia Faustina, was a descendant of an imperial family. So when Marcus was only 2 years old, he was adopted by his great-uncle, Antoninus Pius. So when Antoninus died, Marcus Aurelius became the emperor of Rome at the age of 18, together with his brother, Lucius Verus. But Marcus wasn't interested in being a ruler. He wanted to be a philosopher. He loved reading and writing about philosophy. He studied under some of the best philosophers of his time, like Junius Rusicus, and he applied what he learned from them in his own life. He was a student of Stoicism, which is a philosophy that teaches people how to live a good life by following nature, living in harmony with the universe, and by practicing virtue and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius was so passionate about philosophy that he wrote his own book called Meditations, which is a collection of his thoughts, ideas, and reflections on how to live a good life as a philosopher king. But he also had to rule an empire, and that meant he had to go to war. Rome was surrounded by enemies. The Germanic tribes were raiding its borders. The Parthian king was threatening its east. And the Jewish people were revolting against its rule in Judea. So Marcus Aurelius assembled an army and went to fight them. He led his troops personally, even though he didn't enjoy violence or bloodshed. He was strategic, but not arrogant. He was compassionate, but not weak. And he was successful. He defeated the Jews and the other tribes and returned to Rome as a hero. He used his power to benefit his people. He built public works like aqueducts and roads. He sponsored public events like games and festivals. He appointed qualified people to positions of authority. He reformed the legal system. He promoted religious tolerance. And he left a legacy of peace and prosperity for his successors. He was one of the 5 good emperors who ushered Rome into its golden age. He had enemies who slandered him and plotted against him. He had rivals who competed with him and envied him. He had disasters that struck him down and challenged him. And he had doubts that tormented him and haunted him. For example, he doubted his ability to do his job well. He doubted his worthiness of the honor and glory he received. He doubted his justice and his mercy, and he doubted his destiny and his purpose. But he didn't let those doubts defeat him. He faced them head on. He worked hard to improve himself. He asked for advice from others. He learned from his mistakes, and he kept going. One day, he wrote these words in his diary. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's right. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. You can choose to see the positive side of things, to find the lessons in the negative side of things, and to use both sides. Marcus Aurelius was a man of action, not just a thinker. He didn't just write about philosophy, he lived it. He didn't just talk about virtue, he practiced it. He didn't just preach about duty, he fulfilled it. He was a soldier who fought for his country. He was a leader who served his people. He was a husband who loved his wife. And he was a father who cared for his children. He was also a friend who valued his companions, and a philosopher who respected his teachers. He said, "The fruit of this life is good character and acts for the common good." That's true. What you do with your time, energy, and talents matters more than anything else. You can waste your life pursuing pleasure, power, or fame. Or you can spend your life doing something meaningful, challenging, or inspiring. Marcus Aurelius chose the second option. He chose to leave a legacy of virtue and service for future generations. He was born in the year 121 AD and died in the year 180 AD after ruling for almost 60 years. He was the longest reigning emperor of Rome, except for Augustus. He died in Vindobona, now Vienna, while campaigning against the Marcomanni and the Quadi tribes. He had been sick for a long time and exhausted from the war. He knew he wouldn't recover. So he wrote these words to his son and successor. Commodus, you have your father's blood in your veins. Don't disgrace it. Then he died. He was deified, meaning he was made a god after his death. He was considered one of the most virtuous and intelligent emperors of Rome. He was praised by historians like Plutarch and Herodotus. And he was immortalized in art, literature, and culture. But what about the man behind the myth? What about the person behind the emperor? Was he really as perfect as he seems? Well, not exactly. We have some sources that tell us about his flaws and his struggles. We know that he could be moody and melancholy. He could be harsh and unforgiving. He could be impulsive and vindictive. And he could be oblivious and detached from reality. For example, there's this story about him that he was walking through the city of Rome one day and he saw a poor woman who was begging for money. He asked her why she wasn't working, and she replied that she was too old and weak. He told her to go to the public works department and get a job there, and he gave her some money to start with. But instead of thanking him, she insulted him and called him a fool. He was so angry that he ordered her to be thrown into the Tiber River, and when his wife Faustina heard about it, she was so upset that she refused to speak to him for 3 days. That's right. Marcus Aurelius was a real person with real problems. He wasn't some kind of superhero or demigod who could do no wrong. He was a man who did his best to do right. He wasn't flawless, but he was formidable. He wasn't perfect, but he was wise. He wasn't invincible, but he was powerful. He wasn't immortal, but he was influential. He wasn't a god, but he was a legend. Marcus Aurelius is one of the most fascinating and inspiring figures in history. He was a philosopher who tried to solve the universe. He was a warrior who conquered half of it. He was a leader who built an empire that lasted for centuries. And he was a man who struggled with doubt, fear, anger, and sadness, just like all of us. If you want to learn more about him and how he lived his life according to nature, you should read his book. It's not a long book. It's actually very short and easy to read, and it's full of insights that can help you live a better life. For example, he writes these words in his book. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Just be one. That's right. Don't waste your time thinking about what you should do. Just do it. Don't waste your time complaining about what you don't have. Just appreciate what you do have. Don't waste your time worrying about what might happen. Just focus on what you can control. Don't waste your time judging others. Just try to understand them. Don't waste your time being lazy. Just work hard. Don't waste your time being ignorant. Just learn constantly. Don't waste your time being selfish. Just help others. Don't waste your time being ungrateful. Just be thankful. Marcus Aurelius was a man who didn't waste his time. He was a man who lived according to nature, and he invited us to do the same. He was a man who tried to solve the universe, and he left us a legacy that can guide us through life. Thank you, Marcus Aurelius, for teaching us how to live.